Thank you for coming. It's late in the afternoon, and we hope to make this interesting for you. So we're talking about future applications of mobility, but we need some examples. So we brought two of our startups here, and we have another VC. But maybe very quick on my person. I'm Marcus. I've been with BMW Ventures since 2018. The last 4 years out of the last 5 are spent in the Silicon Valley. I returned to Munich last year, and my mission is to bring some of the Silicon Valley to the Isar Valley. So let's learn a little bit from where actually venture was founded and where it's professionalized, and bring this here and look into what we can actually learn from this and how we can manage here. And I'm so glad to be on stage today and have interesting discussion partners. And they were introduced quickly, but I will give them some time. Just Stefan, co-founder of Deep Drive and managing director, Yoav Levy, co-founder of Upstream, and Theinert from UVC, so value creation director, if I may say that. So I think from that point, I just start the discussion with you, Sarah, and maybe you give a little glimpse into who you are, how you became what you are today, and so introduce yourself.
Yeah, sure. Many thanks. First and foremost, also happy to be here, and many thanks for being here on stage. So my name is Sarah. I am with UVC Partners, and my background is in venture capital and M&A. And since 2 years, I'm now with UVC Partners, building up the value creation team. I'll shed some light on a little bit later. But I mean, we had quite a heavy discussion before. Fun fact about me, I also did a PhD in entrepreneurial finance, so a very heavy finance career. However, one of my worst grades was in finance, which in the end fits perfectly well to this year's DLD motto, dare to try one more time. And that's why I'm here, and super happy to also share a little bit of what we think is super important for the industry. But who's we? UVC Partners is an early stage venture capital firm based in Munich, but we are also operating from Berlin, where we have another office. And we are part of Europe's biggest ecosystem when it comes to entrepreneurship. We are part of the Unternehmertum ecosystem. We are not a university fund, but we are very, very happy to be part of the team of Unternehmertum. And what we do invest especially in early stage mobility startups such as Deep Drive, because what we think is that mobility is one of the key features when we want to get to the next level, and also help to solve also all the things that we just heard before with respect to the sovereign mobility.
Sarah, I have interest in UVC. We're both investors in Deep Drive, but the question is, VC, are we friends or foe? Right? Do we have more in common, or are we in competition?
Yeah.
What do you think?
So for those, I mean, I do not have to explain competition in venture capital because everyone should know here. But from my perspective, what fits better to the topic and also to our industry is co-opetition. Probably some of you know this word from game theory. It's basically a mixture of the word cooperation and competition. And I think that's what venture capital is about. I'm an optimist. Steffi yesterday also said she's an optimist, so am I. So for me, what's more important in that industry, in our industry, is cooperation, to bring really good things together, or to support great founders like the two, who will shed some more lights on their journey in a second. But what is crucial, especially when we talk about venture capital and how VCs can cooperate together, is that each and every one of us has different areas of expertise. And in the end, to really support our founders, what makes the magic is if each and everyone focus on his or her best things that he or she can do. And that's exactly what we think and how we think about venture capital. That's why for us it is important to have great alliances with, for instance, you, Marcus, since we have other investments where we have co-invested in. But in generally, that's for us is very important. Of course, there's a downside. There might be a competition. Sometimes we win, sometimes we lose. But in the end, it's not about us winning a deal. It's about giving our founders what they need. And this is what we should all think what venture capital is about. Because if the two of you are happy with either one of us, that's cool. Because in the end, you are the ones changing the world for better. And this is why, at least from our perspective, competition it is.
Interesting. I think just adding a little bit from my point of view, we're corporate VC, but we try to be as financial driven as possible. But still, the big benefit is that we can bring, I always say, like 10,000 plus engineers from engineering to the table, 10,000 plus engineers from production that can evaluate, that can help, that can foster together with the companies. You guys bring a lot of university expertise and network. So together, I think we actually are building strong syndicates. And it's not so much about competition for me in the VC world. It's about joining forces to get to the greater good, if you may say.
And I mean, everyone knows it takes a village to raise a child. And I guess this is exactly also true for our startups. And yeah, goes without saying, I can absolutely agree.
Nice saying, yeah. Stefan, we're both investors in your company. Maybe you introduce yourself and your company a little bit.
Yes, sure. Stefan Ender. I'm managing director and co-founder of Deep Drive. I'm really happy to be here. What is Deep Drive doing? So at Deep Drive, we have developed a disruptive and patented technology for electric motors. And basically, this is really a new technology which is allowing significantly increasing efficiency at low cost. And if we are thinking what's in the global scale, in the whole world, all the energy, 50% of the produced energy is transferred in electric machines. And every time this is happening, there is a certain portion of losses. So really energy that is lost by transferring via electric machines. And we, with our technology, have the big impact to reduce this portion of losses, which is having a significant impact on the overall CO2 footprint, sustainability, and this whole sector. Right now, we are focusing on the automotive market, being a provider of electric powertrains for passenger cars, mainly. And this market is now starting and growing significantly, and here we are having a significant impact, like really increasing the efficiency by 20%, which means I need less energy for the same range, I need smaller batteries, smaller effort, lower cost in the overall system. And at the same time, we do this at a really reasonable cost point, and with saving raw earth material compared to the state of the art, which ends up with a really competitive product for the automotive industry.
Interesting. But, you mentioned already, but electric motors are everywhere. I mean, in a combustion engine cars, you probably have in the 10th or hundreds of electric motors. They have been around for more than 100 years, plenty more than 100 years. What's the edge that you have, and how did you team form, and what's the knowledge that you bring to the table?
Yes, so 100%. This is true. So electric machines are existing for a quite long time. But if we are looking deeper into applications, and this is also in general, there are lots of dynamic applications. I'm starting with a different area. For example, looking at windmills. So there's strong wind and there's sometimes less wind, which means completely different operating points. And the crucial thing is, with our technology, we can decrease the losses in all of these operating points. So however I use this, transferring this to automotive industry, you just imagine you're driving from A to B. You're accelerating fast, you're accelerating slow. You're driving fast, you're driving slow. And you have to be good in all these points. And this is the big difference. So if we're looking at the state of the art, there's always a certain area where today's solutions are pretty good, and areas where they are not so good. And we are increasing the area where we are super strong with our technology, and this is making a big difference. So really talking about 20% saving in an electric car when it comes to powertrain is having a huge impact. You need 20% less energy to operate this vehicle. You can operate in the same way with producing 20% less energy in the whole energy circle. And this is the big difference.
And one of the things on a different scale that I really like, you guys are 7 founders. Have anybody heard of a company with 7 founders? And you all work so well together. It's really interesting. Yoav, now to you. So maybe you tell us a little bit about upstream. It's such a different topic, but we wanted to show the variety. So Yoav, please.
So we're only 2 founders. So we founded Upstream like 6 years ago with a vision to secure the smart mobility, specifically the connected vehicle space. When we look at the connected vehicle space at that time, we looked at the connected car, which is a very complex machine, computer on wheels, around 100 million lines of code, sensors, computers, cameras, etc. It's connected to the cloud. The cloud is running application, big data, AI. It's connected into other disciplines like insurance, like fleet management, etc. So when we look at this connected vehicle ecosystem, we thought about we need to build like a purpose-built solution for this industry. Of course, Germany is a very important region for us, and this is part of what we do. We're working today specifically on the automotive industry, helping the OEMs to secure their connected vehicles. The vehicles becoming more and more modern, so more connected, with more advanced driving systems like autopilot, moving from level 2 to level 3, etc. Doing software update. This is a very challenging and a complex problem to solve, and we are trying to reduce the risk and detect cyber threats in this industry.
That sounds super interesting. But it sounds also like you could apply that to more fields. I mean, if you're securing vehicles in the field out there with your technology, is that applicable for other industries?
Right. So first we look at everything that moves. So we look at complex machine that are connected. They're connected to the cloud, doing software update. There are APIs and application above that. So we look at other industries, but now we also started to look at things that doesn't move, like for example EV charging. And when we look at EV charging infrastructure, so we look at connected machines that are running, that has a SIM card inside, connected to the cloud. On one hand, they're connected to the grid. They're also connected to the cloud and applications. So when we started to look at the risk, we believe that this industry has some potential risk of threats for cybersecurity, and we now shifting or fine-tuning our solution into this industry as well.
We have an EV charging company as well. We should talk later on that.
Okay, sounds good.
Very good. Sarah, now that we learned about the 2 companies, can you, with the example DeepDrive or any other example you want to choose, tell us how you in your fund support your companies? As your director for value creation, what do you do?
Yeah. So funnily, I just did one of the topics that I usually do in my day-to-day work. So basically, I don't know if you had the chance to listen to Albert Wenger's talk about the world after capital. So from our perspective, it's not about deploying the money per se anymore, which is the most important thing. It's about also teaching our portfolio companies what should they do, where should they pay attention to with respect to developing their company even further. Because what we figured out, and to be very honest, the US was a little bit quicker on that, is that despite of investing, it's especially on how do you support your companies with what's called smart money. But what really is smart money? From our perspective, and this is also what UVC is doing differently, is we have a dedicated unit, which is me and my team, and I'm working with our whole portfolio companies to support them in 3 areas. And those 3 areas are, at the one hand, sales support, because in the end, how do portfolio companies grow? When they have sales or when they do sales. Second, the other thing is ecosystem involvement. Because we are all here at DLD because we network, but however, I mean, having 7 founders, it's a little bit more easy, but being only 2, some of our founders need to be there, and what we do help is also to give them some insights where to prioritize next, where to pay attention from our perspective. And the third, what we do is what I did just with you, what we created is what we call Circle of Excellence. So despite connecting our portfolio companies with the next C-level, what we also do is connecting our portfolio companies with each other. And with each other, I do not only mean the CEO levels, but also the head of HR, the head of tech, to really create an ecosystem that can learn from each other. And how do we do that? We do that with very, very heavy KPIs, because we don't only want our portfolio companies to measure their success and also to report it. It's also what we want to do.
Very cool, very cool. Stefan, you've worked successfully at Bosch. Bosch carries an electric rotor in its logo, so it's all about that. That's the heritage. Tell me why you strongly believe, and we do too, but why do you believe that it takes a startup to challenge those incumbents and come up with really revolutionary ideas and bring them to market?
Yes, yes. So sure. I've been working for Bosch before, and I also really liked it. It was great working there. But if you're thinking about really disruptive new technology, like really doing something new, and what I mean there is not an evolution, not making a wiring lighter or whatever, using a little bit less material. This is very complex. So things where it's not about doing 2, 3, 4 iterations, but where you have to do 20, 30. And for large corporates, and this is also completely clear, it's very hard to do this, right? So they are, on the one hand side, they are running serious projects, where it's starting with engineering, and in the end it's getting more and more about getting all documents ready, getting ready for scaling up the production. And at the same time, trying to do disruptive innovation, where you need also a little bit of this chaos and ideation phases. This is like almost impossible. And after a few iterations, they often stop. But if you start from the very beginning, and this is what we did, and as Markus mentioned, so we were 7 co-founders. We met in university building race cars at TU Munich here, and then we all went into the industry, and basically all of us 7, we realized this. It's very tough. It's good to do evolution development, to do incremental steps, but the big ones are very difficult in large corporates. And we had the same view and quitted the jobs at the same time to start with DeepDrive and to really create something new based on a completely new technology. But, and this is also a very important message, so this needs collaboration. So we are open for collaboration, and we like this because we always think so it's good to work together with the large corporates as close as possible. It's not David against Goliath, it's always David with Goliath in this case.
I like that. Very good. Yeah, I like that. Yoav, similar question in your space. So the world is ever evolving so fast, right? So how do you ensure that the code that is good enough today is not bad tomorrow, is not the risk of tomorrow? And connecting to that question, because we have talked so much about it, how is AI affecting that? Is it more negative? Is it more positive? Can you utilize it, or is it more a threat? Give us some insight.
Yeah, I think it's a big challenge to every company, but I think for startups that they are agile and the way that we work, like we're pretty quick in adopting new technologies. We can make a very quick decision. We don't need to go into this very long decision making. It's like, yeah, let's do it, and we're doing it. So I think that first we're making a very quick decision. Second is we're adopting new technologies. For example, Gen AI. So Gen AI, when we looked at it, we said we have to use it in different areas within the company. And one of the examples that we are using it, so we are also operating SOC. SOC is a security operations centers. So think about a 24/7 operation that people are doing almost the same every shift. So they're investigating alerts, they're running different type of playbooks, they're doing almost the same thing over and over again. So now came Gen AI, and we tried to train him to be an assistant. So we call it like the co-pilot for our security operations center. So what we have done, we started to get the Gen AI helping us to answer question, does this anomaly related to a cybersecurity activity? And then it has a lot of data, different type of sources of information. It helps the analyst actually to do their job better and also quicker, so we can actually work in a faster time to resolution of an incident. So that's just an example.
Interesting, super. Our panel is also about the future, so I have a question for you guys to round off, basically. So what do you think are the big trends in 2024? And Stefan, why don't you start?
Yeah, so I make the answer short and share one thought with you. So electrification, so this is what's happening now. So this is at the very beginning still, and we will see this over the next 10 years significantly. And one thought I want to share with you is, if you would imagine we would not have cars yet, so we would not have combustion cars yet, and we would now have to take the decision. So would we, if we want to build up a supply chain for oil, pipelines to the Middle East, bring this here, build up the whole infrastructure with lots of logistics, with lots of trucks driving on the streets, bringing the fuel from A to B, building a combustion engine where I have explosions inside the motor, exhaust gases that I have to filter again afterwards. And this whole dependency of the whole infrastructure and the whole supply chain. Or would we go for electrification, where we can have a share of energy sources, where we can have a local production, where we have higher efficiencies, engines that consist of 25 and not of 700 components. And this is why I really strongly believe this is happening, and it's almost pre-decided that electrification will be the thing of automotive, and we will see this significantly to 2030 and beyond.
Cool. Yoav, we have to keep it short, but please.
Okay, I'll try to keep it short. But I think that the monetization of data and the usage of data to build different type of applications. So I would give like maybe just a few examples on, maybe one example, we don't have a lot of time, of usage for this data, specifically internally to detect and predict failure during manufacturing and assembly. And I think that the usage of data, the usage of advanced tools like Gen AI, machine learning, deep learning, to detect and predict failure very early in the life cycle of the vehicles or other manufacturing, that would be something that we're going to see more and more this year.
Sarah?
Then I only round it up very shortly. I think we need a platform where all those data and all those specific and different applications plug in. Because in the end, it's not only to create the next electric vehicle or to create the next charging structure, it's everything in the whole value chain. And we need to have the openness from each and every individual who is taking part. It's the investors, it's the startups, it's politicians, and everyone who, and also the customers, who all need to buy in to make this really happening. And I think this is what we need.
Thank you for that. I'm really appreciative if you guys joined today. It's 2 out of over 70 startups that we have been investing in the past. And thank you for coming here, and thank you for listening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.